Welcome to the Sacred Business Mastery podcast. I'm so glad that you are here and listening because I have another guest here. And we are still talking about beauty and wellness business, except I'm bringing in somebody that's got knowledge outside of our industry. And so I would like to welcome Verena Spilker. Verena is coming to us from Germany. Am I correct? Yeah. So I'm in BC, Canada. You're in Germany. The beauty of Zoom that we get to connect and share kind of our passion and our gifts with each other. So welcome to the podcast. I'm really glad that you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
So Verena, you are not in the beauty industry, but you are in the wellness industry. You are a certified life coach. And you and I connected on something really interesting that you're doing, and that is that you have this color wheel that you have developed yourself, super innovative. And yeah, I wanted to learn a little bit more about this tool that you developed. And from what I understand, it's a tool to help us understand ourselves better, but kind of really almost remember ourselves, like those lost parts that, we're kind of bumbling around in life feeling like, am I missing something? So, would you please share with me, like, I'm really curious how you arrived at life coaching, and then kind of where that, like, how that took you into developing the color wheel. Tell me about that.
Okay, so I am an anthropologist. I have a master's degree in anthropology. So, like, people and how people work is something that has always been interesting to me. And I remember one of my teachers saying in the introduction course, like, people who study psychology have a problem with themselves, people who study sociology have a problem with society, and people who study anthropology have a problem with both. And I think that is pretty
That's
much
awesome.
like, so I've always been curious about how people work, the different people all around the world, and I've lived in different places, and I worked in NGOs in Germany and in Ukraine, and then I started working as web designer also for organizations. And wherever I worked and wherever I have been, I've met wonderful, amazing people who had great ideas, who wanted to create change, who wanted to be there for other people, who wanted to make this world a better place. But no matter in what field I worked, what I think was missing was that people didn't have the belief that they could actually do it. And
Mm.
so I embarked on a journey to bring in all the knowledge that I had through what I studied, what I've learned on the way. I dove like into spirituality and everything connected to that. And I was set on finding something like how we can actually strengthen ourselves so that we can make the impossible possible. And
Mm.
how we can really get to the core of things so that we can create the changes that we want to see in the world, because we're all here and we all want to make things better and different and come together. And on this journey, I found the Wheel of Colors, which is not like I didn't develop the concept. It's like a Native American concept. I found a book by an Israeli psychologist. She wrote the book, and I learned it from her, from that book. But it's a complicated process a little bit,
Yeah.
because like you work with numerology, it's kind of similar. Like you have the 10 numbers or like
Yeah, you got
nine,
the 1 to 9, you got, like, so it's the same with you. You got a
one to
certain
three.
amount of colors
Yeah.
that can be interpreted as whatever.
Exactly. So I took it and I moved it around and I brought in all the knowledge that I had already and my own perspectives of things. And I created a little book, um, which is like 300, 400 pages altogether. But every person has a unique wheel of colors. And I can show one wheel here
Yeah.
as well so that people have a bit of an idea of what it looks like. Um, and it's basically the lens through which we see the world and through which we interact with the world. And we each have the same fields and we each have the same colors, but we all have the colors in a slightly different place. And so like we each have to do new beginnings. We each have to connect to other people. We each have to finish our projects. We each have to heal, but we all do it in slightly different ways. And we have different qualities that we need in these moments. And yeah, that's what the Wheel of Color does. And as you said, like this remembering is what I think gives us the confidence to know, to remember who we are, our soul's calling, like what we decided to be and how we decided to be. And it can just make our lives so much easier when we remember these things and don't have to guess or don't
Yeah,
have
and
to.
also like to then like it's not just the moment of remembering or the aha moment that we have of like, oh wow, yeah, that totally resonated with me and I get it. But it's also about like moving forward, feeling more confident in what you know. Like with the numerology, I often tell people before I do a reading that you're going to actually feel validated in a lot of ways. And from what I understand, the color wheel is the same kind of thing. Is there's some things that you've had this like inkling, like I know I'm pretty sure I'm good at this and I really like it, but I don't know, our confidence kind of, chips away at that. But the same with numerology, when you know you're coded for something, you can feel so much more confident and like just like, all right, let's just hit the jets and move forward on that. And I don't have to worry about like this, I don't know, I don't know, like that just stuff just holds us back from our fullest potential. So I love this conversation. I love talking about human potential. I love talking about psychology and also the subconscious mind. Like that's even more interesting to me as well. So I love, love, love all the things that you have kind of brought together with
Yeah,
this modality. It's very cool. So, so the do you call it the wheel of colors or is it color wheel? Like, how do you prefer
I
to?
call it of colors.
Okay, okay. So essentially, it's to help us understand ourselves better. Maybe you can help us understand this concept a little bit better because you actually did my color wheel for me. So do you want to kind of touch on some of those things that you found to give us some context about how this works?
Yes, so the Wheel of Colors, like you said, like it translates our subconscious into something that we can actually work with. So for me to be able to make somebody a Wheel of Colors, like you work with the numerology of the date of birth and of the name, I guess, and
Yeah,
like different.
mostly the date of birth but yeah, I that's another kind of rabbit hole to go down with like names and all that kind of stuff.
So to get your Wheel of Colors, you have to write down the numbers of 1 to 13 underneath each other in an order that seems right to you. And because you or people who do this don't know what the numbers stand for, it's a unique way to translate how you work subconsciously.
So it's
And
super like it's like literally the only thing I had was my intuition. I'm like, I don't know what I need, like write down 1 to 13, but in the own order. So that was a really interesting way to tap into your intuition because there was nothing connected to it. It's like, okay, I'll just write down some numbers.
exactly. And I translate that into colors, and then I arrange that on the wheel that I just showed you. And so from like there are different parts. The first three fields tell us how to begin, how to connect to other people, and how to finish a project that we're working on. So this is like the very basic, very concrete like thing that I think is also super useful once we know these things because we're in new situations all the time. And especially now that the times are changing so quickly, like we come into new moments all of the time.
Yep,
So
we wake up in the morning and all of a sudden there's different stuff happening and we're like, okay, here we are.
like for you, for example, like your first color is red. It means that you need to trust and to believe in yourself and like to
Mm.
connect with yourself in order to feel safe or arrived in a situation. For me, for example, like my first color is brown. I need to be active. I need to be working for the greatest good of all, kind of feeling needed, feeling physically active to contribute in a way. And that's how I settle in or arrive in a new situation. And then we have the second color, which I think is pink for you. Is that correct?
Well, I just want to kind of back up a bit. Like, so the first color is red, and you said like that's about confidence.
Yeah. And
So what's really interesting is that I think,
about what you're doing
what's that?
and being passionate about what you're doing. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I put myself out there on a fairly regular basis. Um, and I've always kind of been that like lead the way. Even when I was a little kid, my mom would be like, "Oh my, come on, kids in the neighborhood, let's, kind of create some sort of thing." So that makes a lot of sense.
yeah. And then your second color is pink for connection, which means
Okay.
you have a very creative way of connecting to other people and innovative. And like you're not doing things just one way, but you're like, you have different approaches with people, which might maybe sometimes is also overwhelming to people who would like to have things in a like more structured kind of way. But yeah, generally like very creative way of connecting to other people.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
And then your third color for finishing things is your intuition, is blue. I have the same. And it's like, it's the classical field for that color, which means that you're generally intuitive in all areas of your life.
Very cool. So with just those three things, because those are just the kind of the top three colors, how does it like, what do you do? So like you share in a report, kind of all those colors and what they mean, and then what? Then what do we do with them?
Well, I think these first three are pretty basic because they are like everyday situations that we know. And I mean, like the third color about finishing projects, I think is relevant in the kind of way that sometimes when you're insecure about something, am I dating the right person? Am I meeting the right people? Like, is this the right path for me? When you know which color you have in that third field, then you know
Mm,
quality to activate in order to get in touch with your inner knowing of, is this the right thing for me?
okay, that is interesting because in numerology, with how I'm coded, I've got a lot of ones, which means like I'm good at getting started with things. I've got six in my code, which is about beauty and creativity. And I've got two in my code, but in numerology, there's this kind of one, two, three. I'm missing a three, and that is difficult for me often to finish projects.
Yeah,
I'm really good at starting them. Really, really, really good at starting them. I'm really good at connecting with other people in for the projects. That's the two, but completing them, that's a total, yeah, Achilles heel for me. And what you said about intuition is very helpful because I often kind of beat myself up about like, "Ugh, you just don't finish it." Like, but it's kind of like I got it started to the midpoint and then I'm kind of back to, oh, new things. So that whole thing about finishing, using my intuition to finish is very helpful because it gives me a thing to do when
exactly.
I'm realizing I'm not completing things. So to go in, tap into my intuition, maybe ask myself what's the best way for me to finish this? Does it need to be finished? All of those things. So that is really, really helpful.
And especially this, does this need to be finished? Because,
Mhm.
if you're a starter kind of personality, that's beautiful. And maybe you're starting more things that you actually need to finish. And that's beautiful too. Like it's just about knowing which ones do I finish and which ones do I finish.
Totally. Because I'm ruling number 10, so I've got that one again, like as my main code in my life. And so that's what makes me really good at being a business coach. It makes me really good at layering numerology and spiritual insights into business because really not a lot of people are doing it. So it's my superpower, but I also know I have to shore that up with things. And I do that in numerology. But I love what you shared with this about the wheel of colors, just from a different perspective and
Yeah.
giving me another very practical action step to use.
Exactly. And this is like what is so nice about the Wheel of Colors, that it's like, because we have astrology, we have numerology, we have human design, we have all these different modalities. And the Wheel of Colors kind of adds a few missing pieces that are not part of the other
Yeah.
one. And
Yeah.
so in like these very practical ways, as in, now I know that I need to activate my intuition to finish something, let's just do that. Like, it's just,
Rather than sitting here going, oh God, dang, I haven't finished that. And then just, that negative
yeah,
feedback thinking loop, right? Yeah. So helpful. And so after like the other colors, so the other 10 colors are, what do those kind of represent? We don't have to go into them individually, but so you said the first three are kind of like the everyday kinds of things.
exactly. And then we have number four, which is for healing and balance. So that's also a very practical and easy to use thing once you know what it is. Um, for you, for example, that's respect. Like, you need to respect yourself and other people in order to heal and be healthy.
Oh. Oh, okay. Yep. Very much.
And
It explains a lot when I've had situations in my life with people where when I'm done, I'm done. Like, done. And it's usually when I've lost respect for them.
yeah,
Interesting. Interesting.
and that wouldn't benefit your well-being, right? So it's
Oh,
like
so energetically,
body
yeah,
response.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So interesting. Huh. Okay, what's number five?
Type creativity.
Okay.
So for you, you have the color yellow in that field, which means you need to love somebody or feel emotionally attracted to them in some way, like positive emotions. That's what gives you creativity. Like, that's what makes you want to
Lights
create.
me up. Yeah. Excellent. Interesting.
And then we have number six, and this is also a color that is relevant to business, because that's the gift that we came to share with the world.
Hmm.
Wheel of colors, we each have a gift, and that gift is a message. And for you, that is relationships. And I think that actually all kinds of relationships, like, and you've also given me a numerology reading, so I know how you work. And it's like, the knowledge that you bring in is excellent for business because it's a translation. You can see both parts. You can see the speaker and you can see the audience, and you can
Mhm.
state how they need to communicate with each other. And that is basically you using your gift of the relationship, because you can translate both sides and bring them together. And
Interesting.
beautiful, yeah.
I'm in numerology, the two is about relationships, and I'm heavily coded with two as well. I was born on the 22nd of June, and when you put two twos together, it's a master number. It's like the master builder number.
Yeah,
So that's and in my life, it's very much I've got those twos in there to like I've recognized that relationships have been a massive theme in my life. And actually, for the month of February 2025, we're in a two energy month in numerology. And so I've also understanding myself with that relationships are a big part of my life has given me it's given me peace as well because I haven't spent a lot of time by myself as a single person. I've always preferred being in relationships, and I've kind of gotten flack from people about that before. But when I look at my code and also what you're telling me here is that it's just been a part, like it's been a huge part of my life lesson is the
yeah,
mirrors that people give us when we're in a relationship. That's massive learning, massive learning.
for real.
So, these kinds of tools give us a hall pass, I think, in a lot of, not in a negative way, but gives us a hall pass on the things that we've been hard on ourselves for, or that other people have criticized us for, to actually see both the high and the low vibration of that, the color or the number, that it's just is, it's not bad. It's just we get to choose now that we are aware of how this is actually working out.
exactly. Yeah,
So that kind of brings me to my next question about, like you were talking about the number six being more about kind of business. Let's just dive into that a little bit more. So it's about the number six, the sixth color in the wheel is about your gift.
exactly.
Okay. So tell me more about like how, what that, just tell me more about it. So if you were to, so you do a reading with me, what would you be telling me about that other than, this is about relationships and
So we have your core. We haven't looked at like we each have a center color, which is the most important color in the wheel, which is
yeah.
in the center, and which is in every part of our lives. And for you, that's the color rose, which is sensing and like psychic abilities and those kinds of knowings. And that's like what your life centers around. And looking at your wheel, and then with the gift of like relationships, like you're exactly doing what you're
What
doing.
I've been coded to do.
Exactly. So
Okay.
like you're bringing the spirituality through the numerology and like you're and I noticed that very much also in the last time that we spoke, like you understand people because you're not just using your senses, you're not just looking at them, but you're feeling them. And
Mhm.
you have an understanding of them as a person, of their like you get insights into people.
Yeah,
And that's
I
the
get their energy and yeah.
that's the rose center. So you're using that, and that's perfect for you. We each have a different color in the center. Mine is purple spirituality, which also in the numerology reading you gave me, it's about wholeness and about completion. That's my,
Mhm. Yeah. Ruling number nine. Yeah, that's the life path number. And also that nine is also is the humanitarian.
yeah,
So the fact that you like in your kind of previous career, that tied in that with that as well. It's just understanding people like and wanting to make
a
kind
different,
of like the planet just a better place.
yeah.
So
So,
so your middle is purple.
and my gift is equality and justice.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's like and this is like really my life. This is what I have been preaching, like even from day one. It's like, no, we have to treat all people the same way. Like you can't be mean to some and not mean to others. Like it's
Yeah.
that's my thing. And yours is more with relationships. And then other people are teaching about passion. Other people are teaching about willpower. Like we each have a gift, one of the 13 qualities that we automatically are drawn towards and that we speak
Right.
about. And so when you're looking for a career path, for example, then you look at the center and you look at the gift. And when you combine the two, then you will surely be successful. Like
Hmm.
we're like it's a wonderful thing to have confirmation on if you're already doing that. And then the other one that helps with business is the field number 7, which is for safety and confidence,
Okay.
which I think is also super important, especially when we want to be public and when we want to go out and we need to feel safe, we need to be confident. And when we know what we need to be confident, it's easier.
Yeah, it just kind of shores up those things that, aspects of ourselves that we weren't feeling super confident about. And in order for us to be visible and to be seen, especially in the beauty and wellness industry, it's kind of, predominantly women. And I had this conversation yesterday with another skin therapist, Amy Wall, um, of how like there's that like centuries of it's not safe for us to speak our truth.
Yeah.
And so, we're doing a lot of heavy lifting right now in terms of our inner work. And it's not just this lifetime of, feeling like it's safe to work, but we're actually dealing with many, many, many lifetimes of it's not safe to be honest and truthful. So I really see our businesses as our life coach, and it's asking us to, it's okay to be like step up and speak speak up, speak what you know is right and true. and it will just keep challenging us because we need clients, right? We need to make a living. And so there's that that kind of spiritual lesson through our business
Yeah,
about being seen, but we need to feel safe in order to be seen. So understanding what makes you feel safe, what makes me feel safe, what makes other people safe, it's all going to be a little different. Um, but once you kind of think about that a bit, shore up some of that safety for you to move forward. It'll be a little easier for you to, it's still going to be challenging. Like anytime we need to like shift into the next version of ourselves, it's going to always not feel super comfortable.
that's
And it
part
will
of
always be like easy to be like, oh, I don't want to do it. But, we're not here for the easy stuff.
no, not
Not,
this.
not, God, no, not this lifetime.
So
Okay, the other question I had, is I guess more about like, I guess in order to like, so this isn't like an Oracle deck. It's not like an Oracle deck that somebody could buy and, just use for themselves for this wheel of color. Right now, because, you've developed this methodology and kind of blended it with others, this is more like a one-on-one kind of service with you right now. Is that
exactly.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so, I think even with, you know, as far as like spa owners, beauty business owners, wellness owners, these kinds of readings, whether it is, wheel colors or numerology or tarot, I love using them as a strategy tool. We often tend to use these tools when kind of life takes a turn and we're at the bottom of the tank and we're kind of using them almost a little bit out of desperation. But what I've learned about those moments in my life is like these tools work. They really work to help guide us back up. Well, how about we just start using them while we're here? We don't have to wait till life is a mess, a hot mess.
yeah,
Um, and so, having a reading, a Wheel of Colors reading is one of those things that helps. You can just understand yourself better as a leader. And I would imagine it would help as far as like if you're a business that has a team as well, it would help you, understand your team, how to relate to your team better.
exactly. Like, I haven't done this yet. Like, I've done a group reading with a group of people, but especially for teams, it can be super useful because you can know the people. Like, when you know the message that a person is already ready to put out,
Yeah.
and
Well, and just
place,
naturally,
yeah,
like
exactly,
just like total natural.
and you place them in the right place and put them in the right place, then it's like much easier and everybody benefits, right? And also the beginnings and the connection fields are super useful for teams because like what I always think is when, for example, a group of friends travels somewhere, it's the same as when we build a team. Basically, if everybody knows what they need in order to feel safe in a new beginning or in a new situation, it could be like the team is split up in a different way, or it could be a new project they're working on. If everybody knows what they need in order to feel good in that moment, and we know that about each other, then we can really start to thrive. Because if I know that you need to feel safe or like confident, then let's make that happen. Some other people just need other people to have around in order to feel. I need to be practically active. If everybody just steps into these roles in an unknown situation, then we can all make it happen much
Oh,
more easily
yeah. Easier, faster, more efficiently, like and
and happier.
not
Yeah,
just the thing and the whatever you're working on, but like the energy of the team is there's more ease because we all understand each other better and we can, if I understand your needs better, I can rise to that occasion. But if I don't know, I'm gonna guess, right? Yeah.
exactly.
All right. Well, this has been so interesting. I've really loved to get to know you, and this new methodology is just fascinating to me. And just the fact I was attracted to it as well because of being in the beauty and wellness industry, like as far as colors and color has energy. And I know that there's some Oracle decks out there that are like colored deck, like Oracle decks, that I've worked with a bit before. And so this was almost just like going in deeper in a different way with colors. And especially in the beauty industry, we're all very familiar with, color, like makeup and hair and all that, like clothing and all that kind of stuff. But, when we're shifting into the energetics of a color, that's completely different. And it's like rich information. Right. It's like, let's like surface stuff. Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. I love going deep and learning more about those things.
Yeah.
So where can people find more about you and your Wheel of Color and the work that you do?
So I have a website where you can book a reading with me and where you can book your Wheel of Colors. And that's just my name, verenaspilker.com. And you can find me also on all the social media, not
Yeah,
all
I think
media, but like
following you
it's,
on Insta and Facebook.
yeah, for now.
Wonderful.
And yeah,
Wonderful.
can I say one more thing about the colors? Because I
Yes.
think it might
Yeah.
also be interesting because what I'm like, we can also work with the colors as in clothing. Once you know your color wheel and how the like what your center color is and what your like different colors are and where they are, if you feel like you want to strengthen something, especially like a quality, you can also use that in your business and walls. And I made a lot of posters as well on my websites that you can buy so that you can have the visual image
Awesome.
and strengthen those qualities that you want to grow.
Right. Okay. Really interesting. So even like, so just having those colors around you can help strengthen them.
Exactly.
I don't know about you, but it kind of just reminds me of like throughout my life, when I look in my closet even, like the phases of colors that we go through. Um, like in my 20s, I wore a lot of black. And, when I look at where I was at energetically, I was kind of shut down. I started wearing more kind of pastelly colors, and then I shifted into more brighter colors, and now I'm kind of shifting more into back into the pastels and the cotton candy sky kind
Yeah.
of ethereal kind of feeling, and my clothes are starting. So it's kind of interesting how color will show up in our lives, and yet there's a vibration to it that we haven't been aware of,
Yeah.
right?
Real. Yeah.
Very. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. It's morning time for me. It's evening time for you. So your day is almost done. Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time and chatting with us about what the work that you do.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.